welcome to More Faith with Keisha. My first name is Keisha and my last name is Moore. And on this channel, we talk all things, most things faith. I love to give my faith testimonies to motivate, inspire, and encourage you to keep the faith. Now, this is part 2 of my season of isolation. If you have not watched the first video, I highly recommend go back, watch the first video. That way, this video will make sense. I'll just give you a brief description of the first video. I talked about how God told me to move from California to Dallas without ever visiting Dallas, knowing anyone, without having a job lined up, with only the things that can fit in my car. I was in Dallas for 2.5 years, primarily by myself. It was my season of isolation. So now in part 2, I'll talk about how God told me to move from Dallas to Georgia, Auburn, Georgia, which is the outskirts of Atlanta. So when I started to get the revelation of I would be moving from Dallas, at first I was comfortable. I was like, dang, like I was here for 2.5 years. I like Dallas. I didn't meet anyone. I didn't really know anyone, but it was just, I don't know. I just liked it. I liked the weather. I liked the area I was in, and I wasn't ready to move, but God started nudging me to move. And it got to the point where the last 6 months of me living in Dallas, I was so uncomfortable where I was like actually ready to move. So when I knew I was going to move to Georgia, in my mind, because my mind was still not yet renewed, I was thinking I was coming out of my season of isolation. I was like, okay, when I move to Atlanta, I am going to start networking with people, meeting new friends, going out. I started watching YouTube videos of what is the hottest places to be in Atlanta, the hot spots. It was just like, that's what I thought it was going to be. I was like, when I come here, it's going to be fun. I'm going to start going out because I'm thinking I'm out of my season of isolation. I did what God wanted me to do. I'm changed. I'm renewed. But God wasn't through with me. My mind still wasn't renewed. When I moved to Atlanta, it was still the same thing as in Dallas, but it was just different. It just felt different. It was, God started telling me, like, I didn't put you in isolation to punish you. I put you in isolation so that I can get closer to you, so that I can tell you what it is I want you to know about yourself, about your future, and about your destiny, so that I can give you direction of your future, the path that I have set for you. God just started speaking to me and telling me. And the longer I was away from everyone else, the closer I got to God. The closer I got to God, the more comfortable and content I felt with being in isolation. And being in isolation doesn't mean you're just in your home by yourself. You're not talking to people. You're not going anywhere. It's just your focus is the things of God and not the things of the world. So while I'm still here and I'm just still in that season, I started to embrace that season. When you're in a season of isolation, you should be productive with what God is telling you to do. I began to just basically analyze my spending, my finances. Yeah, I've gotten better throughout the years with saving, spending money, but it's like, okay, 5 to 10 years from now, like, where do I want to be in life? What do I want to do? I don't want to look back and say, what have I done with my life? What I could have did, or what, did this or did that. It was just like, I just wanted to be a better person. I wanted to start to like work on my purpose and pursue my purpose. So I began writing. God told me to write a book. I wrote a book when I was in my season of isolation. There was just a lot of different things that I did. I started to analyze, like I said, the relationships, the people that were around me. Like, is this somebody, God, that should be in my life? Is this a person who could be a hindrance to my destiny, a hindrance to the things that you're telling me to do? Is this a distraction? I started to just analyze everyone who was around me. And the crazy thing is, a lot of people just dropped off. They stopped talking to me for no reason. Or they found a reason to not talk to me, which was like really petty. But God started showing me, like, I have a future. Like, I have a future that's planned for you, and where I'm taking you, everyone cannot go. So when certain people stopped talking to me, it just made it easier for me to move forward in my life without them. So it's like, okay, now you can't come back because you left. So, when God starts, doing things, making moves in your businesses and everything starts to blow up, people can't come and say, oh, you acting funny, you acting brand new, like you don't know me. No, you left my life. You walked out. You stopped talking to me. You made every excuse of why you didn't want to deal with me or whatever. Sometimes too, when people leave your life, you just got to pray and just thank God that that person left. When that door shuts, it's not always meant for you to go back and open the door. It's shut for a reason. It's shut so that God can get the distraction out of your life. So whatever is distracting you, leave it where it is. So I got rid of like a lot of distractions, or God did, and God started to reveal people's heart, how they really felt about me. It was just an isolation season, but also a purging season of the things that I needed to work on in my life, and a purging season of the people who were in my life, a purging season of my mindset. Like, God, show me who I am. And so, still being here in Atlanta, I still feel like I'm in a season of isolation, but it's not a lonely season. It's a beautiful season because I'm closer to God than I've ever been in my entire life. I can hear from God more clearer than I ever have in my entire life. I now understand my purpose. I now am in pursuit of my purpose. There's a lot of things that God has me doing in the background that I'm not going to share right now, but I will eventually share. So this is a short video, but I just want to encourage and inspire you. If you're in a season of isolation, don't feel like it's a season where you're just being lonely or you're being punished. Start to just pray and just ask God, like, what is it that you want me to do in this season? What is it about me that I'm not seeing? Who am I? What is my destiny? What is my purpose? And just pray that God will send godly people in your life, people who know Him, and people who will encourage you to do positive, motivating things that will help you grow as a person. I've never been a person I've always known a lot of people, but I've never been a person who just had a lot of people around me. There's a difference. Sometimes it's good to keep that circle tight and concise, and everything will be right. So that's my little joke to myself. Keep your circle tight and concise. So, just start to analyze. You have a lot of people in your life, but how many of those people are quality people? How many of those people can you go to when you're going through something and say like, hey, I need to talk to you about this. Can you pray for me? Do you have praying friends? And I made another video previously. Do you have praying friends or do you have partying friends? If you are in a season in your life and you have a lot of people around you, but you don't have one person that can pray for you, one person that will go to bat for you in the spirit, one person that's going to fast for you, I encourage you to analyze the people you have around you and start getting rid of some of those people, So isolation is not punishment. Isolation is just temporary. Isolation is because God wants you to grow as a person, as an individual, because He has something very special planned for you and planned for your life. So I'm going to end this video. If you can share, like, comment, subscribe. And I do have a book called Testimonies of a Faithful God. And in this book, I give 13 testimonies about how God has been faithful in my life because He has been faithful. So next time, keep the faith. Bye.